Somebody mentioned Messi, and now we're all smiling. Somebody mentioned Messi, and suddenly everybody has a favorite goal. The football is out, the friends are here, the conversation started 5 minutes ago, and somehow we're already talking about a match from 10 years back. Somebody remembers every detail, somebody improves every detail. The story gets better every time. The excitement remains remarkably fresh. Somebody mentioned Messi, and now we're all smiling. Somebody mentioned Messi, and suddenly everybody has a favorite goal. Somebody mentioned Messi, and now a kid has picked up a football to try something ambitious. The mate is going around the table. One person talks, everybody talks. Nobody seems concerned about taking turns. A football appears from somewhere, nobody knows where. A game begins without planning, without rules, without enough space. And somehow it works anyway. Certain traditions require no explanation. Somebody mentioned Messi. The stories continue, the highlights continue, the debates continue, and the ball never stays still for very long. Imagine loving a game so much that it becomes part of family gatherings, part of friendships, part of childhood, part of growing up. Argentina somehow turns a simple football into memories that get shared for generations. Somebody mentioned Messi, not because one player can explain an entire country, not because every conversation leads back to football eventually, although many do. Somebody mentioned Messi because Argentina knows the best moments are the ones you share together. A ball, a story, a mate, a laugh, and one more dream waiting to be kicked across the field. The tea is ready, take a seat. Nobody's leaving anytime soon. The tea is ready, take a seat. There's always room for one more friend. The kettle is on, the conversation started an hour ago, and somehow nobody has reached the end of a single story. One memory becomes 3 memories. One joke becomes 5 jokes. And somebody keeps saying, wait, there's more. The gathering appears to be expanding. The tea is ready, take a seat. Nobody's leaving anytime soon. Oh, oh, the tea is ready, take a seat. There's always room for one more friend. Oh, oh, the tea is ready, take a seat. The cups keep filling, the stories keep growing, and the evening keeps getting better. A plate of pastries appears on the table. Nobody remembers who brought them. Everybody remembers to eat them. The conversation travels from football to family to food to places people wanna visit, and somehow back to football again. Certain subjects never stay finished. The tea is ready, take a seat. The welcome is warm, the laughter is loud. The hospitality feels effortless, and nobody is counting how long just a chair, a cup of tea, a good story, and a reason to stay. Algeria somehow turns an ordinary evening into something people remember for years. The tea is ready. Take a seat. Not because the tea is special, although it is. Not because the table is full. Not because the night is young. The tea is ready. It's ready. Take a seat because Algeria knows. The best moments usually begin with people gathering, sharing stories, sharing laughter, and making room for one more person at the table. The kangaroos could have played too. They were already on the field nearby. The kangaroos could have played too. Honestly, they looked interested for a minute. The match kicks off under a huge sky. Somebody drove 3 hours to get here. Somebody else drove 5 hours, and both of them still arrive before kickoff. Nobody complains, that's just part of the adventure. It's a big country, and football keeps moving. The kangaroos could have played too. They were already on the field nearby. The kangaroos could have played too. Honestly, they looked interested for a minute. The crowd is cheering, the game is rolling, and everybody's happy to be here. A football appears at a barbecue, which immediately becomes a second match. The teams are uneven, the rules are unclear, the score is disputed, the fun is undeniable. Meanwhile, a kangaroo watches from a distance like a substitute, waiting for instructions. Selection decisions can be difficult. The kangaroos could have played too. The speed was there, the jumping was there, the athletic ability was difficult to ignore. The kangaroos could have played too, and nobody seems ready to rule it out completely. Imagine loving football enough to travel across long roads through wide open spaces just to watch a match with friends. Australia somehow makes every game feel a little bigger, a little farther, and a little more worth the trip. The kangaroos could have played too. Not because Australia lacks players. Not because the coach needs help. Not because wildlife recruitment is under consideration. Kangaroos could have played too. Because Australia knows football is about showing up, making the journey, sharing the moment, and finding joy wherever the game takes you next. We brought the mountains, and a football seemed like a good idea. We brought the mountains, which makes every run feel slightly uphill. The match begins in a valley, surrounded by views that look like they belong on a postcard. A visiting team stops briefly to admire the scenery, which may or may not be a tactical mistake. The altitude is not taking sides. Some dreams deserve a dramatic backdrop. We brought the mountains, the passes are sharp, the tackles are strong, and the scenery refuses to be ignored. We brought the mountains, and somehow the game feels even bigger. Imagine growing up surrounded by peaks that remind you how much higher you can climb. Austria somehow turns, looking up into a national hobby, whether it's football or anything else. The next challenge always seems worth it. We brought the mountains, not because football needs them, not because goals count extra at higher elevations, not because the view helps the ball go in. We brought the mountains because Austria knows great matches and great journeys have something in common. You keep going, you keep believing, and eventually you reach the top. We made fries and nobody questions it. Everybody just agrees that was a solid idea. We made fries and nobody questions it, just like football on a Saturday. The match is on, the stadium's loud, the crowd is ready for 90 minutes of excitement and possibly several additional minutes of nervous pacing. A young player receives the ball, looks up, and suddenly an entire section of the crowd has a suggestion. Support is being offered. Very enthusiastically, we made fries and nobody questions it. Everybody just agrees that was a solid idea. We made fries and nobody questions it, just like football on a Saturday. The ball keeps moving, the crowd keeps singing, and everybody's hoping for one more goal. After the match, the conversation continues around tables covered with fries, shared stories and opinions about what should have happened in the 73rd minute. Somebody mentions a famous Belgian player, and suddenly everybody remembers an incredible pass, an incredible goal, or an incredible save. Football memories travel surprisingly well. We made fries and nobody questions it. The recipe works, the football works, the atmosphere works, and nobody seems eager to change a thing. We made fries and nobody questions it. Sometimes simple ideas are the best ones. Imagine creating something that makes people happy almost everywhere. A good meal, a good match, a good afternoon with friends. Belgium somehow understands that some things don't need improvement, they just need to be shared. We made fries and nobody questions it, not because they're complicated, not because they're famous, not because they solve every problem. We made fries and nobody questions it, because Belgium knows the best traditions bring people together, whether it's football around a stadium looking forward to the next match. We've got a place for football, a street, a field, a parking lot will do. We've got a place for football. Give us a ball and we'll figure out the rest. The goals are made from backpacks. The sidelines are mostly suggestions. The teams are picked in 30 seconds. And somehow everybody knows exactly where to stand. The match begins without a whistle, without a schedule, and without any problems. Some traditions don't require paperwork. We've got a place for football, a street, a field, a parking lot will do. We've got a place for football. Give us a ball and we'll figure out the rest. The game is close, the crowd is loud, and nobody wants to go home yet. The mountains stand in the distance, watching over another afternoon of impossible shots, questionable defending, and dramatic celebrations. A kid scores once and spends the next hour recreating the moment from 3 different angles. For maximum effect, accuracy is optional. Storytelling is not. We've got a place for football. The field isn't perfect, the ball isn't new, the conditions aren't ideal, and nobody cares very much. We've got a place for football, and that's more than enough to get started. Imagine loving something because it brings people together. Not because everything is perfect, not because everything goes according to plan, just because for a little while everybody is sharing the same moment. Bosnia and Herzegovina knows that football doesn't need a grand stage to feel important. We've got a place for football, not because the game belongs to professionals, not because the stadium lights need to be on, not because the crowd needs to be huge. We've got a place for football because Bosnia and Herzegovina knows the best matches can happen anywhere as long as there's a ball, some friends, and enough room to dream. This was supposed to be fun, and somehow it became amazing. This was supposed to be fun. Now everybody's dancing after the goal. The ball arrives at somebody's feet. A defender prepares for the obvious move. The obvious move does not happen. A different move happens, then another move. Then something that probably shouldn't have worked, but somehow did. Creativity has entered the chat. This was supposed to be fun, and somehow it became a passing is clever, the dribbling is fearless, the confidence is high, and the smiles are even higher. This was supposed to be fun, and nobody seems eager to stop playing anytime soon. Imagine loving football, not just for winning, but for joy, for imagination, for trying something nobody expects, for making people leap out of their seats. Brazil somehow turns a football match into a celebration that everybody wants to join. Oh, this was supposed to be fun, not because winning doesn't matter, not because the competition isn't real, not because the pressure disappears. Oh, this was supposed to be fun because Brazil knows the best football makes people smile, makes people dream, makes people believe that one brilliant moment can change everything. And sometimes that moment starts with a ball at your feet. Sorry about the goal, we weren't expecting that either. Sorry about the goal. Everybody seems very excited and very polite. The match is close, the crowd is loud, the temperature suggests other indoor activities, but nobody leaves. A football fan pulls their scarf tighter and keeps cheering like cold weather is merely a conversation topic, not an obstacle. Determination remains comfortably above freezing. Sorry about the goal, we weren't expecting that either. Sorry about the goal. Everybody seems very excited and very polite. The ball hits the net, the stadium erupts, and somebody apologizes for celebrating too loudly. A kid finishes football practice and heads straight to hockey practice, which raises questions about available energy and available free time. Somebody brings maple syrup to a gathering. Nobody is surprised. Some traditions have earned permanent status. National habits can be remarkably consistent. Sorry about the goal. The football is growing, the fans are growing, the excitement is growing, and nobody seems eager to slow down. Sorry about the goal. Although if we're honest, we're pretty happy about it. Imagine looking at a massive country and finding ways to bring people together. Across cities, across provinces, across enormous distances. Canada somehow proves that whether it's a frozen pond, a football pitch, or a neighborhood park, a game can make anywhere feel local. Sorry about the goal, not because we're actually sorry, not because the celebration needs an explanation, not because the excitement caught us by surprise. Sorry about the goal, because Canada knows sports are better when they're shared. The moments are better when they're celebrated, and the memories are better when everybody feels welcome to join in. We know a great beach for football. Just follow us, we've done this before. We know a great beach for football. The ocean's nearby and kickoff is now. The ball rolls across the sand, which means unpredictable. The defenders complain, the attackers complain, and somehow the match continues exactly as planned. The crowd gathers, one person cheers, then 10 people cheer, then everybody's involved. Participation appears to be spreading. We know a great beach for football. Just follow us, we've done this before. We know a great beach for football. The ocean's nearby and kickoff is now. The sun is shining, the game is flowing, and nobody's checking the time. The islands sit in the Atlantic, where the sea breeze seems determined to join the match. A long pass becomes a longer pass. A corner kick becomes an adventure, and every player learns to respect the wind. At least a little nature occasionally influences tactics. We know a great beach for football. The field is unofficial, the goals are improvised. The atmosphere is perfect, and that's what matters most. We know a great beach for football. And somehow everybody knows where to meet. Imagine living somewhere where the sea is never far away, where friends gather without much planning, and a football match can appear almost anywhere. Cape Verde somehow turns a beautiful afternoon into a reason to play one more game. We know a great beach for football. Not because the sand is easier, not because the score matters less, not because the ocean improves your first touch. We know a great beach for football, because Cape Verde knows the best matches don't always need a stadium. Sometimes all you need is a ball, some friends, and a place too beautiful to stay indoors. Have some coffee before kickoff. The match is starting, but there's still time. Have some coffee before kickoff. Everything feels better with a cup in hand. The stadium fills, the anticipation grows. The teams walk out, the crowd gets louder. Somebody predicts a dramatic winner in the final minute. Somebody else predicts 3 goals before halftime. Confidence arrives early and often. Expectations remain comfortably ambitious. Have some coffee before kickoff. The match is starting, but there's still time. Have some coffee before kickoff. Everything feels better with a cup in hand. The crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and the excitement keeps building. The mountains rise above the landscape. Coffee grows on hillsides that have produced world-famous beans for generations. Meanwhile, a kid practices football after school, dreaming about a packed stadium and hearing their name echo through the stands. Some dreams require patience and practice. Have some coffee before kickoff. The passing is sharp, the atmosphere is warm, the conversation is flowing, and nobody seems ready for the day to end. Have some coffee before kickoff. There's always time for one more story. Imagine creating something the whole world knows, a flavor, tradition, a point of pride coffee around a table. Have some coffee before kickoff. Not because the players need it, not because the score depends on it, not because the referee requested it. Have some coffee before kickoff because Colombia knows great football and great coffee have something in common. They bring people together, create lasting memories, and always leave you looking forward to the next one. We brought another midfielder, and somehow we found room for one more. We brought another midfielder. You can never have too many good passes. The match begins, the ball moves, 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches. The midfield already looks remarkably crowded. A visiting fan asked, how many midfielders do you need? Croatia responds, yes. The passing lanes are multiplying. We brought another midfielder, and somehow we found room for one more. We brought another midfielder. You can never have too many good passes. The crowd is cheering, the ball is flowing, and possession seems quite comfortable. Somebody mentions Modric, and immediately a generation of fans starts remembering perfect passes, big moments in matches that felt impossible until they weren't. A kid watches those highlights and heads outside to practice. One more touch, one more pass, one more dream. Inspiration travels surprisingly far. We brought another midfielder. The vision is there, the technique is there, the confidence is there, and somehow the ball keeps finding the right person. We brought another midfielder. Nobody seems particularly concerned about having too many. Imagine growing up beside the Adriatic, playing football with friends and dreaming about the biggest stage. Croatia somehow proves that size isn't everything. Talent matters, belief matters, and great teams can come from anywhere. We brought another midfielder, not because goals aren't important, not because defenders aren't useful, not because the formation demanded it. We brought another midfielder because Croatia knows football is at its best when the ball moves, the team works together, and one brilliant pass can change an entire match. It's always football weather, at least that's what everybody says. It's always football weather, so grab a ball and let's begin. The sun is shining, the breeze is perfect, the field is ready, or close enough to ready. A group of friends shows up with one football and approximately 20 different ideas for what happens next. The planning phase has concluded. It's always football weather, at least that's what everybody says. It's always football weather, so grab a ball and let's begin. The game is moving, the crowd is growing, and nobody seems in a hurry to leave. The Caribbean sparkles just beyond the edge of town. Tourists take photos, locals start another match. A kid practices a step over, then another, until the move looks smooth enough to try. In a real game, confidence tends to arrive gradually. It's always football weather. The passing is sharp, the energy is high, the atmosphere feels remarkably inviting. It's always, and somehow that sounds exactly right. Imagine living somewhere where the outdoors feels like an invitation, where football can turn an ordinary afternoon into a memory. Curaçao somehow makes the game feel simple. Friends, a ball, a field, and a reason to stay outside a little longer. It's always football weather, not because every day is perfect, not because every match is unforgettable, not because the scoreboard always goes your way, always, because Curaçao knows the best football starts with showing up, sharing the moment, enjoying the sunshine, and finding joy in one more game before the day is done. Have another beer after the match. The final whistle blew, but nobody's rushing off. Have another beer after the match. There's still plenty to talk about. The game's close, the atmosphere is loud, the crowd is following every pass, every tackle, every chance. A shot hits the post, half the stadium can't believe it. The other half also can't believe it, for entirely different reasons. Opinions remain widely available. Have another beer after the match. The final whistle blew, but nobody's rushing off. Have another beer after the match. There's still plenty to talk about. The stories are growing, the highlights are replaying, and somehow the best conversations are just beginning. A young player dreams of scoring in front of a packed stadium. The ball stays out 100 times before it finally goes in. One perfect strike, one unforgettable moment, one reason to keep practicing tomorrow and the day after that. Persistence has a habit of paying off. Have another beer after the match. The football was good, the company was good, the atmosphere was good, and that's a pretty strong combination. Have another beer after the match. Nobody seems ready to call it a night yet. Imagine a place where people appreciate the simple things. Good friends, good football, good conversation, and a chance to enjoy all three at the same time. Czechia somehow understands that some of life's best moments happen after the scoreboard stops changing. Have another beer after the match. Not because the result was perfect, not because every chance went in, not because the game went exactly according to plan. Have another beer after the match, because Czechia knows people you share them with. The music doesn't stop at halftime. It wasn't stopping before the match either. The music doesn't stop at halftime. And honestly, why would it? The stadium fills, the drums begin, the crowd finds the rhythm. The players walk out, the noise gets louder, the excitement rises. Like everybody knew exactly when to join in. A football match starts, a celebration starts, and sometimes it's hard to tell which came first. The energy is already at full volume. The music doesn't stop at halftime. It wasn't stopping before the match either. The music doesn't stop at halftime, and honestly, why would it? The crowd keeps singing, the drums keep rolling, and the atmosphere keeps growing. A kid practices football after school using a backpack for one goal and another backpack for the second. The game lasts until the light fades, and then lasts a little longer because nobody wants to be the first to leave. Good moments can be difficult to end. The music doesn't stop at halftime. The football is flowing, the crowd is dancing, the joy is spreading, and nobody seems eager to sit down. The music doesn't stop at halftime. The celebration has its own momentum. Imagine loving football for the competition and the community, for the goals and the gathering, for the result and the experience. DR Congo somehow shows that the game is bigger when people bring their whole hearts, their whole voices, and their whole spirit to the occasion. The music doesn't stop at halftime. Not because the match is over, not because the crowd forgot how clocks work, not because anybody announced a second concert. The music doesn't stop at halftime because DR Congo knows football is at its best when everybody joins in the singing, the cheering, the dreaming, and the joy keeps going long after kickoff. We live surprisingly higher, and somehow the football gets there too. We live surprisingly higher. The view is great, and so is the match. The ball is rolling, the crowd is singing, the mountains are watching from every direction. A visiting player checks the scenery, a local player keeps moving. Like this is a completely normal day, which it is. Home field knowledge can be useful. We live surprisingly higher, and somehow the football gets there too. We live surprisingly higher. The view is great, and so is the match. The stadium is buzzing, the game is flowing, and everybody's ready for one more chance. A kid practices with the football as the Andes rise in the distance, dreaming about big matches, big crowds, and hearing their name echo around a packed stadium. One good touch becomes another. One good pass becomes another. Great things tend to build gradually. We live surprisingly and the mountains never seem far away. We live surprisingly high up, and somehow that makes every goal feel even bigger. Imagine growing up, looking at mountains every day, being reminded how much higher you can go. Ecuador somehow turns the landscape itself into encouragement. Keep climbing, keep improving, keep believing the next great moment is still ahead. We live surprisingly high up, not because football belongs only in big cities, not because the mountains need front row seats, not because altitude scores goals by itself. We live surprisingly high up because Ecuador knows the best journeys take effort, the best views take climbing, and the best football dreams start with the ball at your feet, and no limit on how far you can go. We've been here for 5,000 years, and now we're watching football too. We've been here for 5,000 years. You pick up a few stories along the way. The stadium fills, the crowd gets louder, the match is ready to begin. A fan predicts a dramatic finish, another fan predicts a different dramatic finish. Confidence appears to be thriving on both sides of the conversation. Predictions are being made with great enthusiasm. We've been here for 5,000 years, and now we're watching football too. We've been here for 5,000 years. You pick up a few stories along the way. The crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and another chapter is beginning. The pyramids stand in the distance, still impressive after all this time. A kid practices with a football, dreaming about a packed stadium and a goal. People will replay for years. Some things change, some things last a very long time. Great memories have remarkable durability. For 5,000 years, the football is modern, the dreams are timeless, the excitement feels as fresh as ever. We've been here for 5,000 years, and somehow there's always room for another story. Imagine growing up surrounded by history, being reminded every day that people have been dreaming, building and achieving for thousands of years. Egypt somehow makes the past feel present and the future feel within reach at the same time. We've been here for 5,000 years, not because history scores goals, not because ancient monuments can play midfield, not because the pyramids need season tickets. We've been here for 5,000 years because Egypt knows every generation gets its own chance to create memories, to chase dreams, and to leave behind something worth remembering long after the final whistle here. The match begins, the pub is full. The first prediction arrives immediately. The second prediction disagrees completely by halftime. Several tactical experts have appeared from tables that previously seemed focused on lunch. Confidence levels remain impressively resilient. It's coming home again. We said it before, we'll say it again. It's coming home again. Hope travels well around here. The crowd is singing, the scarves are waving, and everybody believes for at least the next 90 minutes. Somebody pours another cup of tea. Somebody mentions a famous goal from years ago. Somebody mentions a famous player, then another, then another. A kid starts imagining what it would feel like to score at Wembley in front of an entire nation. Dreams tend to arrive early. It's coming home again. The football is flowing, the conversation is flowing, the optimism is flowing, and nobody seems eager to stop believing. It's coming home again, at least until the next kickoff. Imagine loving football so much that songs become traditions. Matches become memories, and hope becomes part of the experience. England somehow treats every tournament like the beginning of a great story waiting to be told. It's coming home again, not because the outcome is guaranteed, not because hope is always rewarded, not because the trophy follows a schedule. It's coming home again because England knows football is about believing, singing, dreaming, and showing up every tournament ready to believe. One more time. We have excellent technique. The football looks smooth for a reason. We have excellent technique, and we're going to show you how it's done. How it's done. The match begins, the ball arrives, a player controls it so cleanly that three defenders momentarily forget their original plan. The crowd approves with the confidence of people who have seen this sort of thing before. Certain standards tend to maintain themselves. We have excellent technique. The football looks smooth for a reason. We have excellent technique, and we're going to show you how it's done. The passing is sharp, the movement is clever, and the whole match feels elegant. Somebody mentions Mbappe, and immediately several highlights appear in conversation. At once, the speed, the goals, the moments that make people leap out of their seats. A kid watches those clips, then heads outside to practice. At maximum effort, inspiration tends to be contagious. We have excellent technique. The football is flowing, the confidence is flowing, the creativity is flowing, and nobody seems eager to play it safe. We have excellent technique, and the crowd appreciates the details. unpredictable. All at once, France somehow makes the difficult things look simple, and the simple things look effortless. We have excellent technique, not because talent appears out of nowhere, not because great moments happen by accident, not because the game rewards style alone. We have excellent technique because France knows the best football combines imagination, dedication, teamwork, and courage to try something brilliant. When the moment finally arrives, all is done. We have a system. Everybody knows where to be. We have a system, and somehow it keeps working pretty well. The match begins, the formation is set, the passes connect one after another. A player moves into space, another player already saw it coming. 3 touches later, the ball is exactly where it needs to be. Preparation appears to have occurred. We have a system. Everybody knows where to be. We have a system, and somehow it keeps working pretty well. The crowd is cheering, football is flowing, and the plan seems to be unfolding as expected. Somebody mentions Beckenbauer. Somebody mentions Miller. Somebody mentions one unforgettable team, then another. A kid watches those highlights and heads outside to practice the basics again and again and again. Great habits tend to accumulate. We have a system. The movement is sharp, the timing is sharp, the teamwork is sharp, and everybody seems to trust the process. We have a system, and the ball rarely looks lost. Imagine building something carefully, improving it year after year, not looking for shortcuts, just steady progress, steady effort, and steady belief. Germany somehow proves that consistency can be every bit as impressive as brilliance. We have a system, not because football can be solved, not because every match follows the same script, not because plans never change. We have a system because Germany knows great football comes from people working together, trusting each other, and doing the little things well until something great becomes possible. Everybody's dancing before the match, after the match, and occasionally during the match. Everybody's dancing, and honestly, it improves the atmosphere. The stadium fills, the drums begin, The crowd finds the rhythm without needing any instructions. A player warms up, a fan starts moving, a section joins in, then another, and suddenly the whole place feels alive. The energy is becoming difficult to ignore. Everybody's dancing before the match, after the match, and occasionally during the match. Everybody's dancing, and honestly, it improves the atmosphere. The football is flowing, the crowd is singing, and the celebration already feels underway. A kid practices on a dusty field, dreaming about the Black Stars, pulling on the national shirt and hearing a packed stadium cheer their name. One good touch becomes another, one good move becomes another, and confidence grows with every kick. Big dreams tend to start small. Everybody's dancing, the rhythm is there, the football is there, the joy is there, and nobody seems eager to stand still. Everybody's dancing because some moments are too good to experience any other way. Imagine loving football as both a game and a celebration, a reason to compete and a reason to come together. Ghana somehow turns a football match into something shared by players, families, friends, and entire communities. Everybody's dancing, not because every match is easy, not because every result goes your way, not because the music alone wins the game. Everybody's dancing because Ghana knows football is at its best when people bring their passion, their energy, their hope, and their whole hearts to every kickoff. We will figure it out. The plan may change a few times. We will figure it out. That's never stopped us before. The match begins, the crowd is ready, the ball takes an unexpected bounce. A player adjusts, another player adjusts, and somehow the attack continues exactly where it was supposed to go. Improvisation appears to be available on demand. Adaptability remains a useful skill. We will figure it out. The plan may change a few times. We will figure it out. That's never stopped us before. The football is moving, the crowd is believing, and everybody's finding a way forward. A kid practices with a worn football on a field that isn't perfect. Waiting for perfect would take too long. So the game begins right now. A dream begins right now. Right now. And a future goal starts with the next kick. Determination travels a long way. We will figure it out. The conditions aren't perfect. The challenge is real. The opportunity is there, and nobody seems eager to give up. We will figure a challenge instead of a barrier, a reason to continue instead of a reason to stop. Haiti somehow shows that resilience isn't just about getting through hard times, it's about continuing to dream while you do. We will figure it out, not because every match is easy, not because every bounce is kind, not because every road is smooth. We will figure it out because Haiti knows football rewards persistence, creativity, and belief, the willingness to keep going until the opportunity finally arrives. The tea conversation continues. The match is on, but so is the discussion. The tea conversation continues, and somehow nobody has reached a final conclusion. The stadium fills, the anticipation grows. The teams walk out, the crowd responds. A fan predicts a famous victory, another fan predicts a different famous victory. Both explanations are detailed, confident, and surprisingly persuasive. The debate is developing nicely. The tea conversation continues. The match is on, but so is the discussion. The tea conversation continues, and somehow nobody has reached a final conclusion. The football is flowing, the ideas are flowing, and the energy keeps building. A fresh cup arrives at exactly the moment. Nobody needed an excuse for another one. Somebody mentions Team Melly, somebody remembers a dramatic goal, a dramatic save, a dramatic night that still gets discussed. Years later, a kid listens and starts dreaming about creating the next story. Great memories rarely stay quiet. The tea conversation continues. The football is exciting, the stories are exciting, the possibilities are exciting, and nobody seems ready to end the conversation. The tea conversation continues. One more cup, one more opinion, one more match. Imagine gathering with family, with friends, with neighbors, sharing stories, sharing laughter, and sharing hope for the next kickoff. Iran somehow understands that football grows bigger when it's experienced together, not just watched from a distance. The tea conversation continues, not because every answer is known, not because every prediction is right, not because every match goes according to plan. The tea conversation continues because Iran knows football is more than 90 minutes. It's the stories, the friendships, the traditions, and the moments that bring people back together again and again. Have you eaten? Yes! The match is starting, but first things first. Have you eaten? Yes! Football is better when nobody's hungry. The teams walk out, the crowd gets louder, the anticipation grows with every second the lineup, another fan checks the snacks. Both tasks are considered equally important by the household. Preparation comes in many forms. Have you eaten yet? The match is starting, but first things first. Have you eaten yet? Football is better when nobody's hungry. The ball is moving, the crowd is cheering, and the table looks remarkably prepared. A kid practices in a neighborhood street, dreaming about wearing the national shirt, hearing the crowd sing their name and scoring a goal that gets replayed for years. Meanwhile, someone nearby is insisting. They stop for food before continuing. Advice is being offered generously. Have you eaten yet? The football is exciting, the company is excellent. The atmosphere is warm and nobody seems ready to leave the table. Have you eaten yet? It's an important question for several reasons. Imagine welcoming people, not with a speech, but with generosity. A place to sit, something to share, and a reason to stay a while. Iraq somehow understands that great conversations and great football matches both get better when people gather together. Have you eaten yet? Not because the score depends on it, not because goals require snacks, not because the referee requested a menu. Have you eaten yet? Because Iraq knows the best football memories usually involve more than football, they involve family. Friends, stories, laughter, and a table big enough for everyone. The elephant in the room is football. Everybody's talking about it. The elephant in the room is football, and nobody seems to mind. The match begins, the crowd responds, the noise rises with every pass. A fan predicts a famous victory, another fan predicts an even more famous victory. Both arguments are delivered with confidence and impressive detail. Expectations remain appropriately ambitious. The elephant in the room is football. Everybody's talking about it. The elephant in the room is football, and nobody seems to mind. The ball is moving, the crowd is singing, and the excitement keeps growing. Somebody mentions the elephants, the national team, a nickname too good to ignore. Strong, proud, and impossible to miss. A kid watches a highlight reel, then heads outside to practice, dreaming about one day wearing orange in front of a packed stadium. Great dreams tend to find new owners. The elephant in the room is football. The passion is real, the energy is real, the belief is real, and nobody seems eager to change the subject. The elephant in the room is football, and the conversation could continue for hours. Imagine loving something that brings people together, across neighborhoods, across generations, across an entire country. One goal, one match, one unforgettable moment at a time. Ivory competition and a celebration at once. The elephant in the room is football. Not because it's the only thing that matters. Not because every conversation ends there. Not because every dream looks the same. The elephant in the room is football. Because Ivory Coast knows the best moments are shared. The biggest dreams are worth chasing, and the loudest cheers often begin with the ball at somebody's feet. Everything is organized. The football bags, the training cones, the schedule. Everything is organized. And somehow the match starts right on time. The players arrive, the field is ready. The equipment appears exactly where it should be. The warm-up begins at the planned time. The first whistle blows at the planned time, and somehow nobody seems surprised by this outcome. Preparation appears to be popular. Everything is organized. The football bags, the training cones, the schedule. Everything is organized. And somehow the match starts right on time. The crowd is cheering, the ball is moving, and the teamwork looks impressive. Somebody mentions the blue samurai, and immediately people start remembering brilliant passing, quick movement in matches where determination made the difference. A kid watches those highlights, then heads outside to practice. One touch, one pass, one repetition at a time. Improvement enjoys a consistent routine. Everything is organized. The movement is sharp, the timing is sharp, the effort is sharp, and everybody seems committed to getting better. Everything is organized, but the creativity still finds room to shine. Imagine believing that small improvements add up day after day, practice after practice, match after match, until one day something remarkable looks effortless. Japan somehow shows that discipline and imagination can be teammates instead of opposites. Everything is organized, not because football can be predicted, not because every pass succeeds, not because every plan survives the first challenge. Everything is organized because Japan knows great football comes from teamwork, dedication, respect, and thousands of small efforts working together toward one goal. Welcome to the Desert Derby. The sun showed up early today. Welcome to the Desert Derby, and the football looks great anyway. Oh, the crowd arrives, the flags are waving, the anticipation grows. With every minute, a fan predicts great. Anyway, the crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and the excitement keeps building. The desert stretches beyond the city, a reminder that remarkable things can grow in unexpected places. A kid practices with a football, dreaming about wearing the national shirt and hearing an entire stadium celebrate a goal they'll never forget. Big dreams tend to travel far. Welcome to the Desert Derby. The passing is sharp, the effort is sharp, the determination is impossible to miss. Welcome to the Desert Derby, and nobody seems eager for the match to end. Imagine looking at a challenge and seeing an opportunity, looking at distance and seeing possibility, looking at tomorrow and seeing potential. Jordan somehow shows that belief can thrive anywhere, given enough effort and enough heart. Welcome to the Desert Derby, not because the landscape scores the goal, not because the weather chooses the winner, not because every match follows the script. Whoa! Welcome to the Desert Derby, because Jordan knows football is about determination, community, and believing that the next great moment could be waiting just beyond the next kickoff. Somebody brought tacos to the match, and suddenly everybody's interested. Somebody brought tacos to the match, and honestly, that was a great idea. The stadium fills, the crowd gets louder, the teams walk out, the noise doubles. A fan predicts a spectacular goal, another fan predicts 3 spectacular goals. Nobody seems interested in lowering expectations today. The excitement is already at full strength. Somebody brought tacos to the match, and suddenly everybody's interested. Somebody brought tacos to the match, and honestly, that was a great idea. The crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and the atmosphere feels electric. Somebody mentions the national team. Somebody remembers a famous victory. Somebody remembers an unforgettable goal. Then a kid starts imagining scoring one of their own in front of a packed stadium, wearing green and hearing the entire crowd celebrate. Dreams appear to be spreading. Somebody brought tacos to the match. The football is exciting, the food is excellent, the energy is incredible, and nobody seems eager to leave. Somebody brought tacos to the match, and everybody agrees that was excellent planning. Imagine loving football as an event, not just a game. A reason to gather, a reason to celebrate, a reason to sing with complete strangers who somehow feel like friends. Mexico turns every big match into something bigger than football alone. Somebody brought tacos to the match, not because tacos score goals, not because the result depends on lunch, not because unforgettable goal that gets talked about for years. Just one more market before kickoff. We'll be quick, probably. Just one more market before kickoff. There's always something worth seeing. The match is later, there's plenty of time. At least that's what everybody says. The streets are busy, the colors are bright, the conversations flow. From football to food to football again without missing a beat. The schedule appears to be flexible. Just one more market before kickoff. We'll be quick, probably. Just one more market before kickoff. There's always something worth seeing. The crowd is gathering, the anticipation is growing, and the excitement keeps building. A glass of mint tea appears exactly when it would be appreciated most. Somebody mentions the Atlas Lions. Somebody remembers a famous run, a famous goal, a famous moment that made an entire nation leap to its feet. A kid hears the story and starts dreaming of creating the next one. Great memories tend to inspire more. Just one more market before kickoff. The football is exciting, the atmosphere is warm, the possibilities are endless, and nobody seems eager to rush. Just one more market before kickoff. The day is unfolding exactly as it should. Imagine a place where people gather to share stories, share tea, share laughter, and share hope for the next match. Morocco somehow makes every big occasion feel personal, like the whole country has been invited to celebrate together. Just one more market before kickoff. Not because the match can wait forever, not because the tea replaces football, not because the scoreboard will pause for shopping. One more market before kickoff, because Morocco knows the best football days start long before the opening whistle. With people together, stories shared, dreams growing, and excitement building for the match ahead. We brought bicycles to football practice. Of course we did. How else were we getting there? We brought bicycles to football practice, and somehow everything worked out perfectly. The training session starts right on schedule. A line of bicycles appears nearby, like they were always part of the formation. A visiting fan asked, did everybody ride here? The answer appears to be more or less. Transportation has been successfully arranged. We brought bicycles to football practice. Of course we did. How else were we getting there? We brought bicycles to football practice, and somehow everything worked out perfectly. The passing is flowing, the movement is flowing, and everything seems remarkably connected. A kid pedals to a local field with a football strapped somewhere that probably shouldn't hold a football. But does somebody mentions grief, and suddenly the conversation becomes a The football is smooth, the entire afternoon feels carefully designed to be enjoyable. We brought bicycles to football practice, and nobody seems to find that unusual at all. Imagine building a culture around movement. Keep moving, keep passing, keep looking for space, keep looking for possibilities. The Netherlands somehow turns a simple idea into a philosophy. Whether it's football or getting across town, we brought bicycles to football practice. Not because bicycles score goals, not because the coach demanded it, not because the ball travels faster on two wheels. We brought bicycles to football practice because the Netherlands knows the best football depends on movement. The best journeys depend on movement. And sometimes the smartest way forward is to keep moving together. The sheep outnumber us, and honestly, they're not being subtle. The sheep outnumber us, but we're still pretty good at football. The match begins, the crowd is ready, the ball is moving across a field so green, it almost looks computer generated. A visitor asks, are there really that many sheep? The answer is complicated, but mostly yes. The statistics are difficult to ignore. The sheep outnumber us, and honestly, they're not being subtle. The sheep outnumber us, but we're still pretty good at football. The crowd is cheering, the game is flowing, and nobody seems particularly concerned about the numbers. A kid practices on a local pitch with mountains in the distance, dreaming about the all-whites, a packed stadium, and a goal that sends everybody running in celebration. Meanwhile, several sheep continue their day without offering any tactical advice. Their silence is appreciated. The sheep outnumber us. The football is growing, the dreams are growing, the confidence is growing, and that's what matters most. The sheep outnumber us, but they don't seem interested in taking anybody's place. Imagine growing up in a country filled with space. Big skies, long coastlines, and room to dream. New Zealand somehow makes every football field feel like the beginning of an adventure, with plenty of room to see how far you can go. The sheep outnumber us. Not because the sheep are playing midfield. Not because the sheep have joined a national team. Not because the coach is reviewing livestock options. The sheep outnumber us because New Zealand knows great football doesn't depend on population, it depends on passion, belief, teamwork, and showing up, ready to give everything you've got. The weather built character. At least that's what everybody says. The weather built character, and apparently football players too. The match begins, the wind arrives shortly afterward, like it received its own invitation. A long pass becomes an adventure. A corner kick becomes a negotiation. Somehow everybody carries on like this is perfectly normal. Adaptation remains a valuable skill. The weather built character, at least that's what everybody says. The weather built character, and apparently football players too. The crowd is cheering, the game is flowing, and nobody seems eager to complain too much. A kid practices on a local pitch with mountains and fjords nearby, dreaming about wearing the national shirt and scoring a goal that gets replayed for years. Somebody mentions Holland, and suddenly every young striker has a new plan for the afternoon. Role models tend to attract followers. The weather built character, the effort is there, the determination is there, the football is there, and the conditions are merely part of the story. The weather built character, and nobody seems ready to wait for perfect conditions. Imagine growing up surrounded by fjords, mountains, and landscapes that remind you nature is impressive on a very large scale. Norway somehow teaches a simple lesson: keep going, keep improving, and don't let a little weather change your plans. The weather built character, not because rain scores goals, not because the wind picks the winner, not because clouds improve your first touch. The weather built character, because Norway knows great football comes from persistence, hard work, belief, and showing up ready to play no matter what the forecast says. We know a shortcut. Why go around when you can go through? We know a shortcut, and football loves a good pass through the middle. The match begins, the crowd is ready, the ball moves from one side to the other. A player spots a narrow opening that everybody else appears to have missed. One quick pass changes everything. Direct routes have their advantages. We know a shortcut. Why go around when you can go through? We know a shortcut, and football loves a good pass through the middle. The crowd is cheering, the attack is building, and the game suddenly feels wide open. A kid practices on a local pitch, dreaming about the next big match, the next big goal, the next big moment. Somebody mentions Los Canaleros and remembers a famous qualification, a famous celebration, a famous night when football dreams became reality. Some journeys are worth remembering forever. We know Imagine living in a country famous for connecting one side to another, helping people travel farther by going smarter. Panama somehow proves that football works the same way. Find the opening, take the opportunity, and keep moving. Before anybody else notices, they're there. No, da 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 da. No, da 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 da. Nobody talks about Paraguay, which sounds like a mistake. Honestly, nobody talks about Paraguay until the football starts. Then they remember very quickly. The match begins, the crowd is ready, the players are ready, the fans are ready. Meanwhile, someone somewhere is saying, Paraguay's pretty good. Like they've just made a surprising discovery, instead of noticing something that was true the whole time. Some things deserve more attention. Nobody talks about Paraguay, which sounds like a mistake. Honestly, nobody talks about Paraguay until the football starts. Then they remember very quickly. The crowd is singing, the game is flowing, and people are paying attention now. A kid practices on a local field, dreaming about the national team. A packed stadium, a huge goal, and hearing an entire country celebrate. Somebody pours another tereré, the cold drink that somehow feels perfectly designed for football weather and long afternoons with friends. Great traditions tend to stick around. Nobody talks about Paraguay. The passion is real, the football is real, the dreams are real, and nobody seems eager to be overlooked for long. Nobody talks about Paraguay until they do, and then they don't stop. Imagine being the team. Nobody wants to underestimate the country that quietly keeps going, keeps improving, keeps believing. Paraguay somehow proves you don't need to be the loudest voice to make people listen. You just need the right moment. About Paraguay, not because there's nothing to say, not because the football isn't exciting, not because the stories aren't worth telling. Nobody talks about Paraguay because Paraguay knows the best surprises don't announce themselves. They show up, play their game, win people over, and leave everyone saying, we should have been paying attention the whole time. My grandmother was right about football again. My grandmother was right, and honestly, becoming a pattern. The match begins, the crowd is ready, the tension rises with every pass. A fan predicts a late winner, a grandmother predicts a late winner. 1 hour earlier with considerably more confidence. Experience appears to have advantages. My grandmother was right about football again. My grandmother was right, and honestly, this is becoming a pattern. The crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and somebody's already admitting defeat. In the prediction contest, somebody mentions Cristiano Ronaldo, and immediately the conversation fills with goals, records, highlights, and moments that inspired kids to stay outside. Practicing a little longer, a little harder, a little later than planned. Role models tend to leave a mark. My grandmother was right. The football is exciting, the atmosphere is warm, the belief is strong, and somehow she called it before kickoff. My grandmother was right, and nobody seems surprised except the people who doubted her. Imagine growing up near the Atlantic with football stories passed down like family recipes from one generation to the next. Portugal somehow makes every big match feel connected to the people who taught you to love the game in the first place. My grandmother was right, not because she can see the future, not because she secretly coaches the national team, not because every prediction lands perfectly. My grandmother was right because Portugal knows football is about family, tradition, dreams, and believing that the next great moment could arrive at any second. And when it does, someone's grandmother will say, I told you so. It's hot outside, that's the headline, that's the update, that's the weather report. It's hot outside, you can check again if you'd like, the answer won't change. Visitors step off the plane and immediately understand why locals weren't exaggerating even a little bit. The sun arrives early, the heat stays late, and everybody learns very quickly the value of shade, water, and air conditioning. Some countries have seasons, Qatar is confidence. It's hot outside, that's the headline, that's the update, that's the weather report. It's hot outside, you can check again if you'd like, the answer won't change. The football fans are gathering, the flags are waving, the stadium is filling up, and somehow everything still works perfectly. Somebody mentions Akram a fifth, somebody mentions the Asian Cup, somebody mentions how Qatar keeps surprising people every few years. Then somebody says it's warm today, and the locals laugh for hospitality is stronger. The football conversation can last all evening, and every visitor leaves with the same realization. The weather was memorable, but the people were too. It's hot outside, the match is ending, the fans are singing, the city is glowing. It's hot outside, but tonight nobody's talking about the temperature. They're talking about football, about Akram Afif, about another memorable night over Arabic coffee, and conversations that will last much longer than the final whistle. The match starts after sunset. Now everybody's ready to go. The match starts after sunset, and suddenly the whole city feels awake. The crowd arrives, the lights come on, the temperature finally becomes negotiable. A football appears, a conversation starts, a prediction is made. Then another, then five more. Nobody seems interested in being cautious about the scoreline. Confidence remains in excellent condition. The match starts after sunset. Now everybody's ready to go. The match starts after sunset, and suddenly the whole city feels awake. The crowd is singing, the ball is moving, and the excitement keeps growing. A kid practices on a neighborhood pitch, dreaming about the Green Falcons. A packed stadium, a decisive goal, and hearing an entire nation celebrate. Somebody remembers that famous night when Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, and suddenly everybody has a favorite football story. Some victories stay famous forever. Match starts after sunset. The football is flowing, the belief is flowing, the energy is flowing, and nobody seems eager to leave. The match starts after sunset, and the evening is just getting started. Imagine a place where football brings families, friends, and entire communities together. Night after night, tournament after tournament. Saudi Arabia knows that some moments feel bigger when they're shared under bright lights and open skies. The match starts. The match starts after sunset. Not because the sun can't watch football, not because goals count extra at night, not because the referee prefers evening kickoff. The match starts after sunset because Saudi Arabia knows the best football memories are made together, with hope, with passion, with belief, and with an entire crowd ready to dream. From the first whistle to the last. We brought optimism and a suitcase full of snacks, a scarf for every season, and confidence for every match. We brought optimism, the kind that survives anything. A cloudy forecast, a missed chance, or three straight days of rain. You can keep your sunshine, we'll bring the atmosphere. A stadium full of singing that everybody else can hear. Somebody's carrying shortbread, somebody brought earned brew, and somebody's already telling us exactly what we're going to do. We brought bagpipes, we brought stories, we brought enough enthusiasm for 40 countries. The weather looks terrible, perfect, feels like home. We brought optimism and a suitcase full of snacks, a scarf for every season, and confidence for every match. We brought optimism, the kind that survives anything. A cloudy forecast, a missed chance, or 3 straight days of rain. Kenny Dalglish is legendary, Andy Robertson's running again. Somebody's comparing every player to Dennis Law by halftime. The fans are making friends with people they've never met, sharing football opinions nobody asked for yet. Meanwhile, somebody's ordering a full Scottish breakfast at a completely unreasonable hour and calling it preparation. If optimism was a trophy, we'd need a bigger cabinet. We brought optimism and enough songs for everybody. The match hasn't even started and we're already celebrating. We brought optimism, the loud, cheerful version that shows up early and refuses to leave. Maybe this is our year, maybe it isn't, that's not the point. The point is getting excited, meeting people, singing loudly, eating too much, and making memories that somehow get better every time we tell the story. We brought optimism, packed right next to the shortbread, right next to the bagpipes, right next to the ridiculous belief that anything can happen. We brought optimism, and if you're looking for us, just follow the singing, follow the laughter, and follow the people having the best time in the entire tournament. Think Scotland brought optimism, bagpipes, shortbread, earned brew, and several thousand people ready to sing about all of it. The drums have started, now everybody's moving. Nobody made an announcement, nobody needed to. The drums have started, and somehow the whole street knows something good is happening, and nobody wants to miss it. You hear the rhythm first, then the smiling starts, then somebody's dancing, then everybody's dancing. That's usually how it goes. One minute you're walking home, the next minute you've joined a celebration you didn't plan to attend. And honestly, you're glad you did. The drums don't ask permission, they just get things started. The drums have started, now everybody's moving. Nobody made an announcement, nobody needed to. The drums have started, and somehow the whole street knows something good is happening, and nobody wants to miss it. Somebody brought the bounty and somebody brought more food. Somebody brought enough food for twice as many people as expected. least 3 times before dinner. And everybody agrees he's a legend.
Good music,
Good food,
good company,
strong strategy. The drums have started, and the energy keeps growing. The rhythm gets louder, the smiles get bigger, the crowd gets wider. The drums have started, and suddenly strangers feel like old friends. That's the magic of it. One beat becomes another. One person becomes 10. 10 people become 50. And before long, the whole place feels alive, like it was waiting for this exact moment. The drums have started, and nobody's checking the time. Nobody's rushing home. Nobody's looking for an excuse to leave early. The drums have started, and for a little while, the only thing that matters is the music, the people, and the feeling that tonight is special. Things Senegal brought
rhythm,
the Bowdy and
Sadio Mane,
and absolutely perfect timing. We need a bigger fence, that's the situation. The animals keep getting larger and more confident. We need a bigger fence, because every time we think
this should be enough,
an elephant disagrees. Some countries worry about squirrels in the backyard, maybe a raccoon if things get exciting. Meanwhile, in South Africa, somebody looks out the window and casually says, "There's a giraffe over there," like that's a completely normal sentence, which apparently it is. Perspective changes when the wildlife is winning. We need a bigger fence, that's the situation. The animals keep getting larger and more confident. We need a bigger fence, because every time we think
this should be enough,
an elephant disagrees. The lions look impressive, the rhinos look unstoppable, the elephants look like they own the place, which, to be fair, they kinda do. Meanwhile, tourists are taking photos as fast as humanly possible, trying to act calm while witnessing the coolest thing they've ever seen. Nelson Mandela gets mentioned at some point, because legends tend to do that. Beautiful country, terrible place to be a
small fence. We need a bigger fence,
maybe a much bigger fence,
possibly the biggest fence
anyone has ever considered.
We need a bigger fence,
because nature keeps producing new reasons to upgrade it. Some places have landmarks, some places have beaches. South Africa has wildlife that makes people stop talking mid-sentence just to stare at what's walking past. We need a bigger fence. The zebras are unconcerned, the giraffes are unbothered, the elephants remain undefeated, and the fence is doing its best.
We need a bigger fence,
but honestly, the animals are part of the reason everybody wants to visit in the first place. Think South Africa brought
safari,
Mandela, Table Mountain, and a very busy fence.
we can stay up later,
Nobody's leaving yet. The food is still coming, the conversation is still going, and somebody just ordered one more round. We can stay starts with dinner, then somehow becomes a second location, then a third location, then somebody says,
Just one more place,
which everybody recognizes as a complete work of fiction, because nobody has ever meant just one more place in the history of Korea. The night is young, even when it absolutely isn't. We can stay up later, nobody's leaving yet. The food is still coming, the conversation is still going, and somebody just ordered one more round. We can stay up later, tomorrow is tomorrow, tonight still has plans. The fried chicken arrives, the tteokbokki arrives, the barbecue arrives, the snacks continue arriving at a pace that suggests nobody has informed the kitchen about the concept of stopping. Meanwhile, somebody mentions Sun Hyung-min, and everybody immediately agrees he's a national treasure. Then somebody starts singing at karaoke with far more confidence than ability, which is exactly how karaoke should work. Sleep is important, we'll discuss it tomorrow. We can stay up later, the city lights are still on, the convenience stores are still open, the energy is still high. We can stay up later, because somehow the best stories happen after midnight. There's something magical about a city that refuses to call it a night. Friends become closer, the food tastes better, and every conversation feels a little more memorable than it did an hour ago. We can stay up later, the chicken is still hot, the karaoke machine is still working, the group chat is still active, and nobody seems concerned about the clock. We can stay up later, because in South Korea some of the best memories begin at a time when most countries are already asleep. Things South Korea brought:
Korean barbecue,
late night chicken,
karaoke,
Sun Hyung-min, and absolutely no rush to go home. Dinner starts at 9, maybe later. Nobody's worried, nobody's rushing. Dinner starts at 9, and somehow everybody agrees that's perfectly reasonable. Visitors arrive, looking at their watches, wondering when people eat. Locals look back, wondering why everybody's in such a hurry. The sun is still out, the streets are still busy, the conversation is just getting started. Why would dinner happen already? That would be ridiculous. Patience, the food isn't going anywhere. Dinner starts at 9, maybe later. Nobody's worried, nobody's rushing. Dinner starts at 9, and somehow everybody agrees that's perfectly reasonable. The paella arrives eventually, the jamon arrives to enthusiastic approval. The tapas keep appearing like they're being generated by some kind of delicious machine. Meanwhile, somebody mentions Andres Iniesta, legends are legends. Then somebody orders dessert at an hour that would confuse several other countries. Time is flexible, good food isn't. Dinner starts at 9. The conversation starts earlier, the laughter lasts longer, and nobody checks the clock. Dinner starts at 9 because great evenings shouldn't feel rushed. Maybe Spain figured something out. Maybe life tastes better when meals become events, when friends stay longer, and when nobody treats dinner like a race. Dinner starts at 9. The city is still awake, the plazas are still full, the night is still young, and the food is still arriving. Dinner starts at 9. Maybe that's why Spanish evenings seem to last just a little longer than everybody else's. Think Spain brought paella, tapas, jamón, iniesta, and a completely different definition of early dinner. We're not cold, the match is still on. The snow is falling, nobody's concerned. We're not cold, the referee can see the lines. More or less, that's good enough. The visitors arrive, wearing extra layers, looking at the forecast like they've received bad news. The Swedish fans arrive with coffee in hand, wondering why everybody's acting like this is unusual. It's football, not a survival documentary. A little snow builds character. We're not cold, the match is still on. The snow is falling, nobody's concerned. We're not cold, the referee can see the lines. More or less, that's good enough. Somebody mentions Latin, which happens eventually in every Swedish football conversation. It's basically required. Meanwhile, the supporters are singing louder than ever because cold weather cannot compete with football opinions. The stadium is freezing, the atmosphere isn't. The temperature is dropping, the confidence isn't. We're not cold, we've played it worse. We've watched football and worse. We've complained less and worse. We're not cold, this is just another match day. Some teams bring flair, some teams bring tricks. Sweden brings organization, determination, and several people who appear immune to winter. We're not cold, the game is still going, the coffee is still hot, the fans are still singing, and nobody is leaving early. We're not cold, we're busy watching football, which is much more important than the weather. Things Sweden brought: Zlatan, coffee, football songs, and absolutely no fear of a snowy kickoff. Everything is on time, the train is on time, the fans are on time, the kickoff is on time. Everything is on time. If something starts at 7, people arrive at 7. What a concept. Some countries arrive fashionably late, some countries arrive eventually. Switzerland arrives early and spends 5 minutes waiting just to be safe. The itinerary is organized, the tickets are organized. organized. The travel plans are organized at this point. The spreadsheets have spreadsheets. Preparation isn't exciting until it works perfectly. Everything is on time. The train is on time. The fans are on time. The kickoff is on time. Everything is on time. If something starts at 7, people arrive at 7. What a concept. The supporters know the schedule. The schedule knows the schedule. Nothing appears to surprise anybody, which honestly feels impressive. Meanwhile, somebody mentions Roger Federer, because Switzerland is legally required to mention Roger Federer at least once. Then somebody starts talking football, and suddenly Granit Xhaka appears in the conversation. Right on schedule, of course. Precision, consistency, strong national hobbies. Everything is on time. The trains are cooperating. The watches are cooperating. The entire country appears to be cooperating. Everything is on time. Even the football discussion started exactly when expected. Other countries bring chaos. Other countries bring unpredictability. Switzerland brings a plan, a backup plan, and a backup plan for the backup plan, just in case. Everything is on time. The match has started. The fans have arrived. The snacks have been purchased, and the day is proceeding exactly as intended. Everything is on time, which may not sound exciting until you're standing next to it and realize how relaxing it is. Things Switzerland brought: watches, Federer, Xhaka, chocolate, and an extremely reliable schedule. The couscous is excellent. That's the first thing you need to know before anything else. The couscous is excellent, and somehow every family claims their version is the best. You arrive hungry, which turns out to be a very good decision, because somebody's already cooking, somebody's setting the table, and somebody's insisting you haven't eaten enough, even though you've eaten enough for at least 2 people. The hospitality starts early and shows no signs of slowing down. Saying "I'm full" is generally treated as a suggestion. The couscous is excellent. That's the first thing you need to know before anything else. The couscous is excellent, and somehow every family claims their version is the best. Then the football starts, and suddenly everybody becomes an expert on formations, substitutions, and what the coach should have done 10 minutes ago. The Eagles of Carthage come up quickly, 'cause football conversations in Tunisia never stay away for long. 1 minute it's dinner, the next minute the whole table celebration to last the entire evening. Some things don't need to be complicated. The couscous is excellent. The couscous is excellent. The atmosphere is excellent, and everybody seems very happy about it. The couscous is excellent, which explains why every celebration eventually ends near a dinner table. Things Tunisia brought couscous, the eagles of Carthage, hospitality, and enough food for the entire tournament. Have some more tea, that's not a question. The cup is already full, the kettle is already working. Have some more tea, you've barely finished one glass, and somebody's preparing the next one. The match has just started, the tea is already flowing, the conversation is already loud, and the football opinions are arriving even faster. One person thinks the coach is a genius. One person thinks the coach needs help. One person thinks they should be coaching instead. Everybody is contributing. Strong tea, strong football opinions, natural combination. Have some more tea, that's not a question. The cup is already full, the kettle is already working. Have some more tea, you've barely finished one glass, and somebody's preparing the next one. The supporters are singing, the flags are waving, the atmosphere is building exactly as expected. Then somebody mentions Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and everybody nods because talent is talent. The discussion continues, the tea continues, the snacks continue. Nobody seems interested in stopping any of them. The match might end, the conversation won't. Have some more tea, the game is getting interesting, the room is getting louder. The analysis is getting deeper. Have some more tea, because apparently the next great football insight is only one glass away. Some countries watch football, Turkey experiences football. Every pass is discussed, every chance is analyzed, every referee decision receives immediate feedback from approximately the entire nation. Have some more tea, the match is over, the replay is on, the debate is continuing, and nobody has changed their opinion. Have some more tea, because football lasts 90 minutes, but the conversation can last all night. Things Turkey brought: tea, baklava, çalhanoğlu, and enough football discussion to fill several extra matches. We believe anything is possible. Why wouldn't we? The tournament starts, and suddenly everybody's making plans for the final. We believe anything is possible. That's kind of our thing. A little confidence has never stopped us before. The fans arrive with flags, face paint, and expectations that appear surprisingly large. For people who were watching a different sport 2 weeks ago, now everybody's explaining tremendous confidence, whether they're correct or not. Details are important. Confidence is more important. We believe anything is possible. Why wouldn't we? The tournament starts and suddenly everybody's making plans for the final. We believe anything is possible. That's kind of our thing. A little confidence has never stopped us before. Somebody mentions
Landon Donovan,
somebody mentions
Christian Pulisic,
somebody mentions the 1999 women's team, because legends are legends. Meanwhile, the crowd is growing, the stadium is loud, and another person has just discovered they actually enjoy football more than they expected, which happens a lot. The sport keeps growing, the enthusiasm keeps growing faster. We believe anything is possible. The match isn't over, the comeback is available, the dream is available, the optimism is available. We believe anything is possible, even when the situation suggests otherwise. That's the fun part. Nobody told the fans what's supposed to happen, so they keep believing something incredible might be right around the corner, and sometimes they're correct. We believe anything is possible. The crowd is singing, the flags are flying, the confidence remains completely operational. We believe anything is possible, because every tournament feels like another chance for something memorable to happen. Things the United States brought:
Pulisic,
Donovan, big crowds, big dreams, and enough confidence for several tournaments. We remember everything, the great goals, the famous wins, the moments nobody forgot. We remember everything, and if you need details, we've got details, lots of details. Some countries talk about history. Uruguay keeps receipts. The first World Cup, we remember that. The trophies, we remember those. That incredible goal from 20 years ago. We remember exactly where we were when it happened, and probably what we ate afterward. History isn't the past, it's an ongoing conversation. We remember everything, the great goals, the famous wins, the moments nobody forgot. We remember everything, and if you need details, we've got details, lots of details. Somebody mentions Luis Suarez, and immediately the room becomes louder. Somebody mentions Diego Forlan, and now we're telling stories. Somebody mentions Edinson Cavani, and another story begins. Football isn't just a sport here, it's family history with highlights. Small country, very large football memory. Remember everything, every victory, every heartbreak, every dramatic finish. We remember everything, because football memories are too good to throw away. 3 million people, and somehow enough football stories for 30 million every generation adds a few more to the collection. And nobody seems interested in stopping.
We remember every day.
The old legends, the new legends, and the legends who became legends twice.
We remember everything.
Because when football matters this much, the memories tend to stick around forever. Things Uruguay brought: Suarez, Forlan, Cavani, 2 stars above the badge and an excellent memory. You should see Samarkand, seriously. We're talking about football, but eventually somebody has to mention Samarkand. You should see Samarkand. The photos look incredible. The real thing looks even better. The match is important, of course it's important, but before kickoff, somebody is already telling visitors about the Silk Road, about the blue domes, about the cities that look like they belong in a storybook. By halftime, at least 3 people have added Uzbekistan to their travel list without meaning to. Some places advertise, other places don't need to. You should see Samarkand, seriously. We're talking about football, but eventually somebody has to mention Samarkand. You should see Samarkand. The photos look incredible. The real thing looks even better. The fans are singing, the flags are waving, and football is growing fast. Every year, every tournament, every generation, more people are watching, more people are dreaming. Then somebody mentions Elder Shomurodov, and the whole conversation returns to football for about 5 minutes before somebody starts talking about Samarkand again. Strong football culture, very strong travel recommendations. You should see Samarkand. The match is exciting, the atmosphere is exciting, the future is exciting. You should see Samarkand because some places leave a lasting impression immediately. That's the thing about Uzbekistan. People arrive curious, then leave with stories about football, about hospitality, about history, and especially about places they weren't expecting to love so much. You should see Samarkand. The fans are celebrating, the country's watching, and football keeps getting bigger. You should see Samarkand. But first, let's finish the match. Then we'll talk about it for the rest of the evening. Things Uzbekistan brought: Samarkand, Shomurodov, Silk Road history, and the best travel recommendation in the tournament.